After losing in the wild card to the New England Patriots in the 1985 season, the New York Jets were looking to make a deep playoff run in the 1986 season, but there was only one thing holding them back, and that was their defense. It was abysmal.
Their defense allowed 6,050 yards against them with 386 points. This is awful. Like, horrible defense. They only had 38 turnovers, 18 from fumbles, and 20 from interceptions, which isn't awful, honestly, as a team. They had 28 sacks, too, which is also kind of could be better. But still, 6,000 yards is insane. And 4,389 of those came from passing, so just negative pass defense. And then 35 touchdowns came from passing. Then when you look at their rushing defense, they allowed 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns. They didn't have a defense, mainly against the pass, but even then the run was lethal against them.
Despite having a bad defense, their offense kept that team in the playoff picture.
Yeah, their offense put up 5,375 yards, 364 total points, 37 turnovers, which is rough. They had 43 touchdowns. Now you're comparing these stats to their defense, and they had a negative point differential, a negative yard differential, yet they were 10-6. It makes no sense, honestly. But I'll let Mason kind of dissect their offense and where their yards came from.
All right, yeah. Their quarterback was Ken O'Brien, who had 3,690 yards, a 62% completion percentage, and a 25-20 touchdown interception ratio, which wasn't amazing, but he got the job done, obviously, for them to win 10 games with him. And then they had at running back, Freeman McNeil, who was pretty productive on the ground with 856 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then they had a 1-2 punch sort of deal where they had Johnny Hector also in the backfield with 605 yards and 8 TDs. And now their wide receiver room was incredible. Al Toon with 1,176 yards and 8 touchdowns, and Wesley Walker with 1,016 yards and 12 touchdowns. They were incredible. They were probably the reason that the quarterback looked decent. But, hey, what can you ask?
Exactly. And this was probably the last year he looked decent, because the following year they went 6-9. So it was a very, not long-lasting, maybe long-lasting. The year before they were 11-5, so at least 2 decent years of football in a row. But when you look at their worst loss, it doesn't look fine. It looks awful. It was on November 24th, 1986, against the Miami Dolphins. And this is the Dan Marino-led Dolphins. It was, so you can kind of expect the score, which was 3-45. Which actually, I will say this: they did win in their other meetup against the Dolphins this season in overtime. It was like 56 to. It was a good game from the score. But anyways, this game, they had 191 passing yards and 89 rushing yards. It was very not productive on offense. They had 4 total offensive turnovers. So, again, rough for offense. They had a field goal, no touchdowns. So, yeah. But then their defense, they let up 514 total yards, 325 from passing, and 189 from rushing, for a total of 6 touchdowns. They had just no defense this game, and they didn't have much the whole season, but this game especially, no defense. But then their best win was, it pains me to say it, against the Seahawks on November 2nd, 1986, where they won 38-7. They had 427 passing yards and 126 rushing yards. And you gotta remember, this is in the 80s, right? And this is not as a pass-heavy league as it is today. And they were still putting up 427 passing yards in a game against probably the best team in NFL history, the Seattle Seahawks. A little bias on that, I should add, but I'm going to say it. And then their defense that game, they only allowed 322 yards, but they forced 3 turnovers and only allowed a singular touchdown, which led them to that 38-7 victory.
At least they played good at least once.
Oh, yeah. one time is better than. Actually, they played.
No times.
They're throughout the season they played pretty good. They had a lot of solid games. Yeah, this team wasn't amazing, honestly, but they won a bit.
They won 10 games, and they made it to the divisional round in the playoffs.
Where they lost.
So they did make it deeper, but
yeah,
they didn't make it far.
I think that's where this video ends.
Yeah.
Which is a little shorter one, only 6 minutes, but hey, if you watched it all the way through, we appreciate it because it's a short one. And if you like this kind of content, we do these kind of videos every Saturday, different team, different year, every time. So those are randomized. You'll see those on our recaps where we decide what team we do. And speaking of our recaps, every week we do a little recap covering what happened that week and a predictions for what's going to happen the next week every Thursday. And we'll have shorts out throughout the week. We do our picks every Thursday. I'm working on getting some fantasy shorts out. I just got to figure out how I want to do those. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I love it till the day you die if you do. Mason, you got to add anything?
Just what you said. Like, comment, subscribe for the algorithm.
For the
All
algorithm, right? Yeah. Not because we care. No, I'm joking. We care. We love all of you. All 72 of you subscribers at the moment of posting this.
Oh yeah, fire.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep. Later.